Tackle geeks, tackle freaks, and everything in between. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for tuning back in. My name is Umair, and today we are going to be reviewing this gem of a rod. Gotta be careful here. The Megabass P5 Windbuster. This rod is just so sick. I've got this rod earlier this season, and man, I haven't really stopped taking it out every time I'm out. I mean, there's always a reason for me to take it out, and we'll get into that. But before we do, guys, just real quick, really appreciate if you guys hit a like and subscribe on this video. Also, feel free to follow me on socials at Megabass on Instagram and TikTok. Anyways, let's get into this review. All right, so to start off, the P5 line, right? So they started making these rods around 2020, and this specific rod, the Windbuster, was a part of that original lineup of rods. Can we just talk about how gorgeous this rod looks? I mean, the P5 line, they knocked it out of the park with thread wraps, you know, all the little accents on the rod. And people actually have an issue with the reel handle sometimes. This feels great in my hand. I mean, I'm super comfortable. I have a couple P5 spinning rods, and I love the handle. I've never had an issue with them. They fit perfectly in my hand. I will say though, it would be nice if we got a hook keeper. I'm always having to get these Fuji hook keepers and having to deal with the bands breaking off sometimes, wear and tear. It's just annoying, but it is what it is. I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm okay with putting the hook keeper on, but the rod is just gorgeous overall. And you don't really have to worry about them coming out with a revamp anytime soon. They've been releasing new models like every other year. Like even just this year, they released like a couple spinning, a couple casting too. So the P5s aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Plus Megabass has been releasing other lines of rods too, for example, like the X10s, and then the Evolutions, obviously, that came out this year. That was a big deal. So these P5s aren't going anywhere. Obviously, it's one of Megabass's best-selling rod lines, so I don't think they're gonna kill the line or, you know, cut it off anytime soon like they did with the Orochi Double X's. So the retail on this rod right now is $475. And honestly, I would tell you to go look for used. And honestly, I did buy this rod used too. The problem is the warranty on Megabass, man. Their warranty is non-existent. If you buy a secondhand rod, something happens, guide breaks, the rod snaps, something happens, you're out of luck. So that's kind of why I'm a little hesitant on recommending you to buy things secondhand. I always want to make sure you guys are saving money. It's better if you just buy it directly from the retailer instead. Obviously the Megabass has like a 1-year warranty. You know, you snap the rod, you break a guide somewhere, something happens, no questions asked, they'll get it back to you. Just gotta fill out a quick form and send the rod to them. I did have one rod break on me before, not this one, but luckily I did buy, I was the original owner. They just asked me to cut it in half, you know, just so that it's easier to ship and stuff, so it's easier on the shipping costs. Tuned it up, sent it up their way, and it came back within like a week or two. So it wasn't really that bad. But buying secondhand, don't do that. But you can find good deals. The thing with this is that Megabass is mat protected, so you can't really find discounts on these rods, but a lot of times, certain retailers like the Hookup Tackle or a lot of their spots, they'll have gift card promos, right? And so they'll be like 20% off gift cards. Essentially, that means you can get 20% off anything in the store. So, you know, getting 20% off of this guy, you know, bringing it down to closer to 400 bucks, that's a pretty good deal. And honestly, for $475, this rod is, I'd say, worth it, even full price. I mean, this rod is so versatile. Also, I just wanna say, as you can notice, there's a jerkbait on this rod for a reason. I'm gonna admit something. I've been converted. I've been converted over to spinning gear for jerkbaits. The beginning of the year, I was throwing jerkbaits on a 110 stick, and honestly, it's a phenomenal stick. Before that, I had the X-Pride Beast 610 medium. That was a phenomenal topwater rod as well. But this guy, man, I mean, I don't know, for me, like just jerkbaits on a spinning rod is just so much more natural. It feels so much lighter. I'm less fatigued. I don't know, plus you can't beat the drag of a spinning reel, but I just wanna throw it out there because man, this rod really made me believe in spinning rods for jerkbaits. If you guys haven't noticed, this is kind of side rant, these owner treble hook safety caps are clutch. I mean, like, I don't have to worry about getting hooked here. Obviously here, this is where the hook keeper is, so I gotta be careful here, but at least I don't have to worry about 9 separate hooks poking me somewhere. So those are a lifesaver. Anyways, getting back to the video. Windbuster, so we got 7'2". It's a 1/4 to 5/8 ounce rating, which is crazy to me. 5/8 ounce is crazy, but it can do it. I mean, it actually can. It's a little bit on the heavy side. I would avoid going 5/8 if you can, but it is definitely doable. And then obviously 6 to 16 pound line. So in the Megabass rating, this is an F3.5, which is almost like a medium heavy. It's like a medium heavy kind of. And it's actually, you know, it's a fast tip rod. You know, getting into the action of this rod, it's crazy, you know, because this is listed as like a medium heavy, and I would honestly agree because it's got a nice tip up here, right? I don't know if you can see, it's got a nice tip. I'm bending on it pretty hard, and then bends pretty parabolically deep into the blank and then kind of shuts down right around, you know, about like halfway through the blank, and it just stops right here. It's all power down there, right? So that's a great action because you can do so much with it. It has enough bend to keep single hook and treble hook baits pinned for longer, right? You don't have to worry about losing fish. Also, before I forget to mention, this rod sensitivity is out the park. I did not expect this rod to be as sensitive as it is. Things like I was saying, with like a finesse jig or something like that, it's just like, it's so, you can feel every little tick, every little pebble. It's almost like NRX sensitivity. I wouldn't put it right up or above NRX sensitivity. It's just reaching it. It's just right. If NRX is here sensitivity wise, this guy is like right there. Like, it's really close. As far as the weight goes, I had my food scale out and I just put this on there. So obviously right now I have this paired with a 3000 twin power, but just the rod alone, I took the reel off, just the rod alone, it was about 3.7 ounces. And then the rod with the reel was close to 12 ounces. The twin power is about 8.3 ounces. And that's with a full spool of fluoro actually, which is surprising because I don't have any spinning rods in my lineup that have all fluoro like this. This is the one exception. The reason why I'm running this 10-pound FC sniper is because obviously, as you can see, I'm messing around with this is a Maverick. Usually I like throwing obviously the Megabass 110, stuff like that, but I wanted to try out some other jerkbaits, so I got the Rapala Maverick on. And obviously I don't want to really have braid to leader. I have thrown it with braid to leader. I've caught fish. I've never had an issue, but I just rather be more dialed in with my treble hook presentation, since that's a lot of times what lives on this rod. It's like either moving baits or like jerk baits, stuff like that, power fishing techniques. And you know, this fluorocarbon really just gives me that peace of mind. You know, I don't have to worry about braid where it's like, oh, I don't know, there's no stretch in the braid. It affects the sink rate, stuff like that, right? So that's why I have this 10-pound FC sniper on. So you got 12-ounce rod combo, right? And you might be thinking to yourself, you know, that's a little bit heavier for such a higher end rod, you know, like a combo. You know, why would you pair it with a twin power? Now, that's because this rod, right off the bat, obviously I know I have this guy on here, but it balances pretty dead on in the center, right by the reel handle, or right by where you put your hand on the rod, right? So it just, you having a heavier reel, it just helps balance it out because the rod itself is a little bit tip heavy. And I don't know if other people mention this as much, but I had this paired with the new Vanford originally, and the Vanford is a lot lighter, right? This twin power is kind of like the Bantam of spinning reels, right? It's got that core solid body, so it's got a little more weight to it. It's more of a tank, right? And I got the XG just to pick up that line faster. Anyways, having a heavier reel on this balanced the rod perfectly. Like I've said, it's not always about just the lightness, you know, in ounces. It's also about how it feels in hand more, right? This rod feels so much lighter. It was annoying kind of like having like a light reel and like a tip heavy rod. I'd rather have a well-balanced rod, if that makes sense. So it's very similar to my last review, the 873, where you want to have your reel. Same thing with this guy. If you have a well-balanced combo, it's gonna feel a lot more pleasurable on the water. That wasn't sus at all. Anyways, jerk baits and free rigs are what primarily lives on it, but I've thrown so much on it. It's not a typical medium. I mean, you can throw anything from jerk baits to, you know, free rigs, right? This is like a heavier, like doe live beaver. You can throw finesse jigs. You can throw finesse-ier crankbaits, like square bills and stuff like that. And you can throw so much more. You can throw weightless plastics. You can throw shaky heads. I mean, there's so much you can do with this rod. I will say though, it's more power finesse, right? It's not like, I wouldn't go like drop shot, unless you're in Texas rig drop shot, I could do that. I wouldn't go like open hook drop shot. Obviously I wouldn't go spy bait. I wouldn't go anything with like a really super light fine wire hook. I wouldn't do that. This is more of like a beefed up finesse, if that makes sense. It's actually a really great complement to my NRX Plus 852S. The 852S, that's like my primary like go-to Senko rod, and like, I know, right, like it's a really expensive Senko rod, but anyways, that's like my go-to skipping rod and stuff like that. When I wanna reach into tight spaces, I wanna, you know, drag fish out a heavier cover with the finesse presentation. This is a great follow-up to that because I can, right behind, if I'm skipping a Senko, right behind that, I can drag a shaky head, I can have a finesse jig on, you know, throughout the day. I don't have to retie as much. I can throw a free rig on it. You know, whatever I really wanna do, I can do with both those rods finesse-wise, like more power finesse-wise. But yeah, it's a great complement to it. But yeah, guys, overall, 110% recommend this rod. If you have not tried a Windbuster out, I urge you to, this Black Friday, try and find a deal on gift cards or wherever. Look at the hookup tackle. I'm sure someone's gonna have a gift card deal somewhere. Pick up a Windbuster, start tossing around your favorite jerk bait or, you know, free rig setup, or, even, you know, little finesse square bill crankbaits. But yeah, guys, overall, let me know if you guys have any questions on the rod. Again, really recommend this rod. Have nothing but good things to say about it. I would cry if this rod ever broke. Hopefully it never does. It's been a tank, to be honest, throughout the whole season. I've put it through a lot. I've put it through sparse grass, docks, open water. I mean, it's been able to handle a lot. So hopefully keep going strong. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.